And we are rolling. All right, what can we do a quick episode about? I got so much content. I'm only like 40 videos behind on the uploading. I think what a good thing to talk about maybe would be, dogs need to understand causations of things. That's why the pager is more effective than stimulus. If there's ever a point when the dog doesn't understand the causation, that's going to persist. So that's what the problem is. And that's what my problem is when we stand around hitting, even Garmin's got that video, stand around hitting the button till you can feel it. If you did that to human beings, I'm pretty sure if you did that to a child and put it on Facebook, you'd be in jail. But yet these are their fur children. So, maybe that's why we need to adapt to the pager. But if you told me, there are people that are more skilled with the with the continuous than you are with the pager, I would say there probably is. Because the Sport of Field Trials is full of guys who can pinpoint these things, cut them like butter with this continuous. But they're also dealing with a very specific kind of dog. Get your notebook, you're taking notes. That's the summer character's new rule. She scribbles notes. I like on that movie, Dustin Hoffman and Lily Tomlin, where they were existentialists. Summer's my new existentialist. She writes down things, makes observations about me, and does things to help me improve my not be so, as she put. So that's what I want you guys to think of. Dogs, and this is why the pager's so effective, dogs' relationship with other dogs, almost without fail, has a physical component. Almost without fail. So if we're going to interject ourselves into a dynamic with dogs, and if you watch any of my group videos, they're very more so than you're going to see. If you said, well, I've seen a lot of group videos, I would say if you've seen large groups of dogs accompanied by large groups of people, that's not the same thing. Because these dogs are acting, what I would say, as much as possible in a completely uninhibited mind frame. So their interactions, with the other dogs are basically pure. What they're, I can't say that completely because I do have collars on them, but for the most part, we're not using them. These ones that are shot unedited from beginning to end, and I can't say that either because in the Shepherd ones, if I don't page Elliot and them. But that's what I want you guys to think of. Dogs, without fail, have a physical relationship with other dogs, so we can add ourselves to that dynamic. But the dogs need to understand the causation of it. And I say all the time that the nick is not upsetting to dogs, and I'm going to tell you why you need to use food. That's the other reason you need to use food. You're going to gauge it by, if you're upsetting the dog, it's not going to eat. If you want me not to eat, upset me. You see what I'm saying? Then I can't eat. My mind is focused on other things. I'm too upset to eat. So you've got to think of that in dogs too. Obviously with field trial guys, they're doing it very surgically, very deliberately, because if they shut down dogs, well, they have a name for that. You're out of business. You cannot shut those dogs down. So, but with pet dogs, you're dealing with such a broad range of temperament. Food drive is going to be the most universal drive. But what we want to say to ourselves is, dogs easily understand physical touch when they understand the causation of it. That's why using continuous stimulation or hitting them with the nick before they've been exposed to the collar, doing anything, is not good. It's not good. They can quickly understand the causation of the pager. I mean, they understand tactile things. external things. Because the continuous is internal, that's what they can't understand. Cambridge, Massachusetts. Jesus. Hola. This is her. What, were you looking for, like a small puppy? Yeah, I don't have any small puppies. The youngest one I've got one that's about 5 months old. No, that one's a black one. Let me text you some info. We're on our way out the door right now to do videos, but I'll text you some info right now, and then as soon as we get back, I'll text you. Okay, girl, thank you so much for calling. Bye. I get confused. Anyway, that's what you have to think of. If there was ever a point where the dog thought the wrong thing about the causation of the collar, to me, I think you've got a problem. I think you've got a problem. They can mistake the pager, and when people say the pager freaks them out, again, that's method failure and handler error. Every single living, breathing being on the planet can understand a vibration means someone's trying to communicate with you. And people want to say dogs are so smart and they can't teach them that pager's them communicating and it freaks them out. That's them. If I said that's, an extension of your skill and that's freaking the dog out, well, I'm afraid to even see what they're doing with the dog. So that's what I want you guys to think of. As long as the dog, now your relationship has become a relationship that is, has a component of physical touch incorporated into it with no risk of doing it too high. And if you said to me, I have never either hit the nick or the continuous too high, I'd say give it time. You haven't been using it very long. So that's what, you'll feel safe with the pager with that. You're never going to do that and risk on getting hinky about the collar and really mess yourself up, mess your own training up. So the adjustable pager is going to have options maybe for dogs, but if you introduce it on the leash, I do it all the time. I could see if I was just saying this, claiming it, and we didn't have any videos. Every single day, videos. So that's what I want you guys to think of. That's why it's better. It becomes overt. Every part of them, and I'm sure their ear does recognize it. There is a component of audibility to it. And yes, dogs can learn some things from tone. Do I think that that's the main factor of the pager? No, I don't. I do think it's the tactile thing. But if we're combining the tactile with the audibility, internal muscle contraction bears no audibility. So you're factoring that out. You're now making this dog's mind say where, who, what, when, where. You know what I mean? They can understand. The more I think about it, I've tried to encourage Greg to do this tone concurrent with the pager thing to help people, but I do think it would help a lot of dogs too. And I need to post that video. Anyway, so that's what's going on, and we didn't have any bullies, and someone's writing down no bullies. So we're keeping like this little thing like those. They have the no on-the-job accidents for ever how many days. We're having no bullies for ever how many days. Anyway, Mike in the UK is our new Ricky. I'm his new Dave. And if he watches the show, he'll know what that means. But yeah, he's all excited about the training now. And, if you can help people understand, it really is not a better way to correct dogs. It's the most fascinating training tool on the planet. So my advice is get out there, start hitting that pager, and see what you can do with the tone. It's up to us to innovate. You know, if I have to be the Norma Ray, I've decided to install myself as the figurehead of the anti-e-collar movement and come up with constant plans for them to rid the world. You know, like have a protest march on Congress down, you know, in Washington, D.C. And when no one shows up, that's going to be really, really freaking disappointed. Stuff like that. I'm going to start a GoFundMe page, you know, and tell them that it's going to cost a lot. I'm going to find out the name of Pet Safe's lawyers. Anyway. All right, so this letter's to Stacy too. We got to go to get Thimble's food at the grocery store and train the dogs. So good episodes. Bye, guys.